It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Back for another edition of A Cup of Coffee from Slumberland at the Lake. I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris, and you're married.
I'm officially married. The most beautiful woman on the face of the planet now officially has my last name, and it feels great. Beautiful ceremony. Was a wonderful week, but we're back at it. And on this week's Cup of Coffee, we're going to have a special guest, Cody Hummer. He's with the Midwest Beach Wrestling Nationals. Do you know they have a beach wrestling sand tournament here at the lake?
This was the first I'd heard of it. I didn't realize they did this. Apparently, it was a big deal last year.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be a bigger deal this year.
Yeah, coming up, we're going to talk with their owner and promoter, Cody Hummer from Kansas City. He's here. Plus, a couple of sad stories. Crazy Bobcat incident. We'll talk about that. Plus, just a heartbreaking plane crash. Plus, Osage Nation, we had talked about a couple of weeks ago, their CFR Part 292. That's their legal bounding when it comes to the sovereignty and the treaty and everything that goes into that. Well, there was a bylaw that we looked at that said, hey, they have to have local support. So we got some help from Mayor Newberry. We got some help from Nathan Bechtold with Lake Expo, and we'll look at that a little bit. Plus, I want to recap one of the coolest events we've ever had. LO Profiles launch social at the amphitheater promoting their dual issue. We're going to talk about that because the state of Missouri has passed the film credit incentive, which is going to be massive for film, movies, TV shows, things of that right here in the state of Missouri. So really big news. We'll talk about that and some great events and stuff happening on Lake TV. But first, before we welcome Cody on, we're going to talk about what's happening right here at Slumberland at the Lake. Just a huge 4th of July blowout sale. I got here today and I was like, I cannot believe there's anything left. They sold so much stuff, but they got another sale getting ready to kick off. To tell us more, Slumberland at the Lake.
Hey everybody, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. We're celebrating our 56th anniversary of Slumberland Furniture, and we're doing it in style. We're giving away a car. We even have items in every department of the store up to 56% off. You need to come check out our anniversary sale at Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
All right, now as promised, I told you guys we're going to have Cody Hummer, and he's with the Midwest Beach Wrestling. He's the co-owner and the promoter, and this is something brand new to me. I've heard about it the last couple of years, Cody, but you guys bring beach wrestling down to Lake of the Ozarks. It's going to happen here in August. What can you tell us?
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me on, Will. It's great to be down here at the lake. So here in about 3 weeks, we're going to have our annual beach wrestling tournament. So this is our 7th year doing the tournament, and it's our 3rd year at Captain Ron's. And yeah, basically, our vision for the tournament was to bring beach wrestling to the Midwest. So as you can imagine, there is more beach wrestling on the coast, but here in the Midwest, there's not too many tournaments that host wrestling tournaments in the beach type area, sand. So me and my partner Austin, who he actually competed, we both wrestled in college together, and he ended up competing in a tournament in North Carolina. We came back, talked about it, and we were like, man, we'd like to host a tournament here. So our first one was in 2017 and just been going up from there.
And when you say beach wrestling, my mind goes 1,000 places, what it could be, what is it, but this is legit wrestling on the beach. So talk to us about how it works and how a wrestler might defeat their opponent.
Yeah. So more on the technical side, as you can imagine, on the actual mats, a lot of wrestling happens on the ground, but with beach wrestling, that doesn't really happen. So most of it's on your feet, get a point for a push out, point for a takedown. It's really easy and fast and fun. And so, not super complicated in that way. So
that's really neat. And now your 7th year doing it, you say this is really popular out on the coast, and you guys are hoping to grow it here at Lake of the Ozarks. And the cool thing about this event, which takes place on August 6th,
yes, you got
August 6th at Captain Rod's, is it's not just, let's say, young college guys like you a few years ago that get to wrestle. Basically, anyone can wrestle.
Yeah, that's a really great point. We our tournament is open to all ages and skill levels, and most of the people that come to our tournament are under the age of 18. So we have a lot of kids,
Yeah.
middle schoolers, and high schoolers. There's really only like a portion that are college age or like ex-college guys or even guys that just want to get back out there. So it's really family friendly and a lot of kids, and that way boys and girls. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
Man, and that's the perfect location, Captain Ron's, because the beach is big. You have a ton of activities for the kiddos. Now, my question is just a bragging rights, or is there some prizes, trophies, cash on the line for the wrestlers?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. To your first point, Captain Ron's is great. We love being there, lots of space. You know, you have the bar area, and then you have like the actual beach, and we're in like a big just sand volleyball pit essentially, but it's massive, plenty of space. You know, last year we had 200 participants and another couple hundred spectators. So it really housed us well.
You had 200 wrestlers last year?
Yeah, we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those wrestlers, do they pay an entry fee or do they sign up ahead of time? And if people are watching and they're like, okay, I either want to go to this or I'm ready to throw on my wrestling attire. I'm going to get out there and wrestle on the beach. So how does it work? Can you sign up ahead of time and does it cost?
Yeah, great point. So yeah, we have a website and you can register there with the entry fee. And as far as attire, people just wear their swimsuit, you know, and going back to the prize money question, definitely bragging rights. We have medals, medal top 3. So we have a podium and we do pictures afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of what that looks like. Yeah.
Okay, so break down a little bit. So if I show up on the 6th, I'm not going to go against somebody that's like 350 jacked up, you know, solid 16 pack, you know, can do the boob bounce pec thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to have to wrestle a guy like that. Do you break it down by weight, class, age, gender? How do you do that?
That's a great question. Well, if you come to the tournament, we will probably pair you with someone like that. But for anyone else, there's age restrictions and weight classes too. So yeah.
Oh, perfect. Very good. So last year, 200. Do you guys have a goal in mind this year for August 6th? How many people are you hoping to have come and participate?
That's a great question. We're definitely wanting to hit that 200 mark again and maybe a little bit more. You know, we feel pretty comfortable with the space and size as far as parking. And so, yeah, it's kind of what we want to get to again.
And I think this is a great event and great opportunity for local businesses and wanting to get their name in the lake area, because I know you guys are still looking for some sponsors and some partners. And so how can someone watching get in touch with you and your partner and get involved?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we can definitely put our contact and name in the comments or in the title. But we really want to get involved more with the lake area, with the businesses, because we do have a lot of people coming from Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, Illinois, and we want to show off what the lake is. That is a big attraction to our tournament. Is you have competition, but there's recreation, and being here at the lake, it's really special to show off like what we have. So if people are interested in getting involved as far as partnering with us, as far as sponsorships, there's lots of opportunity as far as getting their names out there as well.
Perfect. And then you guys on Facebook, website, anything like that we could push people to?
Yes. We are on Facebook. Our tournament name is Midwest Beach Wrestling Nationals.
Nice.
And our website is MidwestBeachWrestlingNationals.com.
Awesome. That is Cody Hummer. He's the co-owner of the Midwest Beach Wrestling, and they're having their event at Captain Ron's August 6th. We'll tell you more about it in the coming weeks. Cody, thank you so much for joining us. I'll look forward to seeing you out at Captain Ron's on the 6th.
Sounds great, Will. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be right back. But before we do, we've told you about our doc series coming this week. You're not going to want to miss our next episode. Buckle up and get ready for our next edition of the LOZ featured doc series presented by Jonathan Hartenstein, the owner and broker with Lake Ozark Real Estate. Randy Sismstock, the owner of MTI Built by Dockworks. We're going to meet up with Michael Hudson, and he's going to show us just how you build a dock like this on the lake today. So that's pretty neat. I think I'm going to go to that event on August 6th and check it out.
I love those pictures. I mean, some of those people take that seriously.
Yeah.
They're going to town. And Cody was a college wrestler at Mizzou, so he's, he knows what he's doing. That's a pretty cool event.
Apparently, both him and his business partner are both 3-time state championship wrestlers.
Wow.
At the high school level. Then both went to Mizzou before finishing their career at Benedictine. But that's what got them into wrestling. And I'm telling you, based on some of those pictures, this isn't just like a fun buddy deal. Like, hey, somebody wins, leaves with a medal and bragging rights. And I'm telling you, they are not taking it easy on each other.
It didn't look like it, man. I tell you what. And if you've ever gone to a wrestling match, that is, I mean, it's a great sport, but it's mano-y-mano. You got to be tough to do that sport like Cody. And he's such a nice guy. You wouldn't think he's, a real tough wrestler, but he was at some point.
Yeah, a lot of those guys are, nice as can be, but man, when they strap on the ear pads and the tights, man, it's time to take it seriously.
Yeah.
And they did, to the tune of 3 state championships, man. But so August 6th, Captain Ron's, mark your calendar. It's free to attend. That's the cool thing is, you register for it, but if you want to go and just watch, I mean, we love to go to Ron's, and Frankie and Louis are both close to the house.
Yep.
You can go and you can set up on the beach. So that's what we're going to do that Sunday, August 6th. Looking forward to it.
Captain Ron's has done a really great job, and we both know Ron. He's a great guy. Of bringing events there, giving people a reason to come. Aquapalooza, shootout, of course, but things like the wrestling, that's just a great idea.
And not to mention the only lakeside establishment that offers a waterside churchside service on Sunday morning.
Right, yeah.
That would be Ron Dugan and Captain Ron's. So a lot of reasons to love the family atmosphere at Captain Ron's. We just got done with Aquapalooza, and now a lot of people saw our video and photos and they were like, man, it was so much slower. Well, that's because no, it didn't get slower. The Lake TV crews just got smarter. We got there earlier. We were out much earlier than normal. So you guys probably didn't get to see with our video a lot of the huge crowds, but apparently talking to Annie Falstich with Lakefront Living Realty, she was one of the title sponsors on the event at Ron's, and she said that by 4 o'clock it was unbelievably packed.
Wow.
Great turnout, and people seem to have a great time. But yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of stuff takes place at Captain Ron's throughout the year.
Yeah, and I love your videos. I knew you were going to run over there to Aquapalooza, and it's like, I don't even need to go. I'm just going to wait for Will's video and check it out. And so I checked it out as soon as you put it up, like I was like the 3rd viewer or something. I went back to look at it again an hour later, and there was like 5,000 views on it already. It was crazy. But your videos are so good. When
Facebook
you do
loves
that.
those reels. We got the Aquapalooza one. Now we've got our official high quality, really much better edited that Andrew and Daniel shot, put together. That'll come out this week. But we also have an inside look at this $4 million mansion.
I saw
on
that.
the 16-mile marker there, the main channel. You can see the toll bridge right inside Portachima. And we did a 2-part series. I launched yesterday the outside of the house, which is breathtaking.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for later, the end of this week. We're going to show you the inside of the house, and you can catch that whole entire home on our upcoming monthly market update with Jessica Bruce and Jane Kelly from the Bruce and Kelly team. That's on the market right now. That house, Chris, 8,100 square foot.
Wow.
7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms. It has a guest cottage with a bedroom and bathroom, its own wave break, a pool. I mean, it was unbelievable. So wait till you see the inside of that house.
I don't know if you're old enough, but there used to be a TV show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Do you remember that?
Yes, don't go there. We're doing it.
Are you? I'm saying, with your doc series and these houses you're doing, that's what it is. It's like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
We're working on something just like that. So potentially will be a series in the coming seasons on Lake TV. But okay, so as we look past some of the great stuff we've been doing on Lake TV, I did happen to notice this weekend and the latter part of last week, a couple of sadder incidents. Now, first, the Bobcat accident. Did you hear about that?
I hadn't heard about it until you alerted me to it. So a Eugene man, he was seriously hurt in this accident, right? It happened last Tuesday afternoon. Track loader he was driving crashed into the lake off of Brunello Lane in Camdenton. According to the Highway Patrol, his name is Garrett Morgan, 25 years old. He was driving this Bobcat track loader when it lost power. And apparently when those things lose power, they are uncontrollable or something, because they say it slid down a hill, traveled across a roadway, and then went into the Lake of the Ozarks, right? And he was seriously injured, had to be taken to Lake Regional Hospital and everything. That's pretty scary stuff right there. You really don't think about that. When I'm watching those people working on bobcats and stuff like that, it's like, no big deal, but it is a big deal, man.
So you think about when you look at whether it's a rock quarry or they're developing or blasting, and you see one of those skid haulers, there's front loaders, and they've got that track underneath, right? If they're at an angle, if it loses power, where their hydraulics go out, I'm afraid that's what happened. Because sometimes you see them on these very dangerous slopes, these very dangerous declines, that they've got their grip, they've got the ability. Sometimes it's even their bucket that goes down and kind of, prevents them from going down the way they put it down. But if you lose power, I've always wondered how safe can those things be. And this one took a tumble and into the lake. Fortunate for this individual that he was able to make it to the hospital in rough condition, because that is frightening. And you look at the layout of the lake, I'm surprised this doesn't happen more when you're talking about them running power lines and, laying foundations and concretes on some of these these hillsides and these bluffs. I'm surprised we don't see some of that happen more, because this is one of the most complex areas to develop and build and construct on.
So many hills, and like you said, the inclines can be so steep, and it's dangerous when you go into the lake, depending on where you go in. I mean, you could go into 3 feet of water, or you could drop straight down into 30 feet of water. So that's all incredibly dangerous. So kudos to those people working on those things.
No doubt, and kudos to this guy for still being living, because that could have ended much differently, and that leads us to our just heartbreaking story. Everyone heard about the plane crash update. They announced the names of the 22 and the 19-year-old killed. Of course, 54-year-old Gary Vandiver of Richland was in critical condition, and just crazy, unfathomable accident and tragedy that took place here at the lake.
Yeah, whenever you hear of those airplane accidents, you kind of always wonder what happened, right? Because you hear about these quite often. And actually our director of photography, Andy's kind of an expert on this. He was saying, with the hot weather, and they just filled up with gas and everything with the 3 people in there, the plane probably just couldn't handle that weight in coming down. But so you have a 19-year-old Evan Vandiver of Richmond and 22-year-old Hayden Richard, I believe, Reichart maybe, of Carrollton, Missouri, and they were both deceased in that accident. And they believe the 22-year-old was flying the plane at the time. And then 54-year-old Gary Vandiver was apparently taken to the hospital, and hopefully he's going to be okay. But yeah, tragic.
Tragic, and for him too. I mean, Gary, if he makes it through this and everything, then the reality of what's happened is going to be with him forever. And so our heartfelt thoughts and prayers go out to, I believe that this was a very close-knit group too, because I saw a Facebook post that showed the families together, and they might have even been related, but I know how heartbreaking this is going to be, and so we certainly lift up the friends, the family, and those close to both of the deceased. Just heartbreaking. And we see this stuff, more planes. You saw an article just about a week ago that there's more flying in and out of the Lake Regional Memorial Airport down here at the lake, and you're going to see more of that with those heat conditions, 95 degrees, as Andrew alluded to, and fuel was full, 3 people on the plane. The higher you get, the less dense the air gets, it seems.
Well, and where that crash happened off of KK, I believe, I'm wondering if they weren't coming in and out of the Osage Beach Airport there. There's a small airport over there by the YMCA. So I don't know where they were coming in and out of, but yeah, that is sad, scary, whole thing there.
Awful. So as we look ahead now, we talked about a couple weeks ago, the Osage Nation Casino, a lot going on with that. They've really, at this point, kind of given no information. We've been unable to get anything from them. And so I did happen to actually get from Mayor Newberry, he had sent over just an article, or it really showed the Section 292, that there's a provision that suggests state and local governments are a part of this process. But Mayor said, when I asked Osage Nation legal counsel for clarification on this, they were unaware of this section and stated that it did not affect their process. Now, luckily, we're close to the guys over at Lake Expo, and we were in an email correspondence, and Nathan Bechtold did a great job and looked through it. And he said, so he looked at it, and it kind of looked like gobbledygook. The whole can't impact the surrounding community caveat seems to apply only in an instance where the tribe is not permitted to have a casino under subpart B, and he went down. So as they look through the CFR Part 292, really the discussion is, do they need local support because they're not getting local support here at the lake, so can they move forward?
Yeah.
Well, Osage Nation is kind of saying, well, we don't really feel like we need your support. We feel like we're going to be able to move forward, and that's where we're at right now. And so the point of this was Mayor Newberry said, well, based on the bylaws in Section 292, it looks like they need support. But when he asked the Osage Nation Legal Counsel, apparently they didn't need support. It's just interesting.
Yeah, there's a statement in here, and I believe Nathan Bechtel put this together. It takes smarter minds than mine to figure some of this stuff out.
It didn't come from me.
These legalese, they look for loopholes, and they can find loopholes usually. So Nathan wrote, a tribe may conduct gaming on newly acquired lands, and they purchase land, in Osage Beach, that do not meet the criteria in subpart B of this part. Only after all of the following occur, tribe has to ask the secretary in writing to make a secretarial determination. The secretary of the government, the state of Missouri, agrees to this and gets the governor to sign off on it. It almost looks like Osage Nation or any Indian casino could come in, build their casino without local support. In fact, with local folks against them, they could still come in and put it in. So, and I think the Osage Nation knows that, and that might be the angle they're looking at right now, because they're certainly not doing the PR, the public relations with the local community to get the community on their side. It's very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting to me that we can't get a whole lot, because from my understanding that as it is right now, even without any resolution or anything at the state level, they own the property. They could come in and they could build and they could have slot machines as it is. What they're going to wait for approval is on table games, and that could be further out. But it's interesting that no one seems to know anything, and now the local municipalities are trying to show them where they have to have this local support based on these statutes. This is what's listed in your guys' rules, and they're basically saying, doesn't apply to us, we don't hear, we don't care, we're going right forward ahead.
That's one of the really sad parts about our politics today. When they write bills like this, they put so much legalese, gobbledygook in there and loopholes that it almost doesn't mean anything. Right? Where it says in one place you have to have community support in order to build this, but then it says later on in subpart B, you really don't need that if you do this. And Nathan even said, I tried to read this subpart B and it was incomprehensible. And that's from a really smart dude, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty sad that politics kind of get like that, and we get taken advantage of, basically.
It's kind of like saying, make sure you're here at 8 o'clock every Monday morning. Well, unless you don't feel like it.
Right. And then you can show up whenever you want.
Because then that's that loophole that you give. It's wide open. So now as we move ahead, we look at Missouri is officially reinstating film tax credits. This is by KFTV, which is the Kemp's Film TV video site. Missouri reinstating the film tax credit 10 years after it expired back in 2013. Governor Mike Parson signed a bill into law that will offer tax credits for the film and music industry later this year, with an expiration date set for 2030. In order for recording artists to qualify for this, then they have to also do 2 concerts in the state of Missouri, said Gregory. So that can also happen for music videos and stuff for artists if they have concerts here. Now, Curtis Gregory is a state legislator. If you recognize his name, he was an all-conference lineman for the University of Missouri.
Wow.
Under the direction of Gary Pinkel. So the reason I bring this up is a huge deal, and it is a huge deal because At Niangua's Inn, we've talked about the film based out of here at Lake of the Ozarks. It was created by Bo Shore and Chase Elliott, both former Lake TV staff members. It actually got picked up by big Hollywood producer Gina Goff, and she's done some big stuff. She just got done doing one with William Shatner that won a couple of awards.
Captain Kirk, right?
Captain Kirk. She also has worked on a recent movie with Christopher Lloyd and a handful of others, and she loved this. And she put out At Niangua's Inn has the feel of mud, where the crawdads sing, and No Country for Old Men. If you enjoyed these movies or television shows like Bloodline or even Ozark, then you're going to enjoy this cinematic love story to the Lake of the Ozarks and to brotherhood. The movie will be shot at beautiful Lake of the Ozarks in the fall of 23, and we're planning on utilizing the new state of Missouri tax incentives. So this event we had Thursday at the Ozarks Amphitheater was the LO Profile launch social. They called it the On-Stage VIP event. And it was for their dual issue, the 2023 Annual Summer Boating Guide. And then this was pretty cool. Michael McDonald, you recognize that guy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This is also your dining guide, but they had this speed painter, Sergio Gutierrez, who speed painted Michael McDonald on stage and played some music. Gina Goff was there. Rebecca Rodeman, who's Gina Goff's publicist, was there. Curtis Gregory, the Missouri legislator. Coach Pinkel was there. Bo Shore was there. It was just an incredible event. To celebrate Missouri, to celebrate the lake, to celebrate our venue in the film industry. And so I gotta say to Missy, well done. This has had to be her best social, this launch party. I mean, they're all nice, but this was great. And this is a really, really great issue. It's sophisticated, it's edgy, it's bold. It's the best darn magazine at Lake of the Ozarks. It's LO Profile, and it's on newsstands now. Don't miss this incredible issue. And for us, we're gonna stay just waiting on this at Niangua's End, because this is gonna be a major motion film happening right here with two guys we know and big-time Hollywood producer Gina Goff.
I saw Bo and Chase at your wedding, actually, about a week and a half ago, and man, are they excited, fired up, happy to get this thing rolling. I think this is going to be a big thing. It's going to be a great thing. And you talk about Missy and LO Profile and Coach Pinkel. That's another thing. You know, there's so many elements that make our community great. The number of grassroots people that come together to help charities is one thing. People like Missy and Coach are a part of that, but they're also great business leaders. And, you know, with a magazine like LO Profile, it's just a wonderful thing for the community.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, it's a testament to Bo and Chase and how talented they are. And of course, I gotta mention Phoenix Buckner too. He's the other actor that stars in that. He really is the lead actor, and he has turned some heads and gotten some eyeballs because he has been phenomenal, they've said. So
I'm
really
surprised they didn't hire you to be the lead actor, you know?
They got smart, they got wise, and they say keep him behind the camera. They'll probably just ask Lake TV to do another interview or something, because that's where we work out well, is telling people stories. So, hey, I also wanted to mention, real quick, you know about Magic Dragon Trails.
Yeah,
and
that's where you wrecked the bike, right?
Yeah, that's where I wrecked the bike. Of course, our nonprofit partnership with Scott's Concrete allows us to do some great coverage for them. And they've got their bicycle skills camp, Learn to Ride. It's their second camp, July 31st through August 4th, and it's at the Magic Dragon Skills Park in Osage Beach, right there at the YMCA. Now, there is a donation recommended, but listen, it's not required. If you can't afford this, they're going to cover the cost absolutely free. I talked with event organizer Stacy Pirtle, and she said, so I'm not much of a crier, but I was literally brought to tears to see so many of these kids learn to ride. And a couple of the parents had said from their first bicycle camp, thank you again for all your hard work this week with our daughter. She's cruising all around on her bike today, and we're so pleased and proud of her. Thanks to you. Another parent said, such a great event. We learned some new things to try at home, and we really appreciate it. And then they unanimously asked all the kids at the end of the camp, the first camp, so would you guys rather be playing video games or on the computer, or would you rather be out riding your bike? And all of the kids said they'd rather be out riding their bike.
Wow, and it's so much better for them, too.
Right.
Yeah.
So Branches of the Lake, the Community Foundation of the Lake, all kind of supporting and funding the Magic Dragon Trails. They have their bicycle camp number 2, Learn to Ride, July 31st to August 4th. Of course, you could check out more at branchesforthelake.org. You can sign up early and check out some more information. But I'm telling you what, that Magic Dragon Skills Park in the Branches for the Lake, just an incredible organization, and we're going to see them doing a lot of stuff moving forward with that Magic Dragon Trails out there.
Yeah, very cool, and getting even cooler by the day, really.
So a couple other things. We talked about Missy Pinkel. Just ironically enough, she's going to be on the community spotlight all week long.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Missy's so fun and interesting. There's so much more to her than LO Profile magazine. I mean, her life story is pretty fascinating. So we get to hear a lot about that on this week's Community Spotlight show. You can see that every day, 9:02, 3:02, and 7:02 right here on Lake TV.
And a lot of people don't know either, because now you see, like, You go to their events, you go to their office, like they're big time, right?
Yeah, right.
And if you see this, you just think like it's always been like this. It has not always been the case. Missy started the magazine basically by herself with a couple of her girls and went through some really tough times, and the product today, as you know, is just bar none.
Awesome.
So
I also want to say we've got high school football coming up for you in August. Wild Will for what, the 10th or 11th year you're calling
11th year, and we don't want to tell
Wow.
the news yet, but we got some cool news to share with you guys as well. Hey, don't miss Happy Hour with DJ Kyle. Also, if you want all of the events happening at the lake, there's a lot of them. You're going to want to check out Weekend at the Lake with David Leatherberry every Thursday through Sunday. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of A Cup of Coffee. This is number 129. Come back next week for number 130. We'll see you then.